Okay.
Blackpink, I think.
That was the most streamed song globally. That was followed by SZA and Kendrick Lamar's Luther. Spotify listeners now anxiously awaiting their 2025 Wrapped in a social media post. The music streaming giant teased that the customized year in music playlist would be, quote, coming soon. I think I like it to know your insights, right? But yeah, the whole posting is kind of silly to me.
I'm surprised Drake's not on the list.
Oh, you think so? Did he have a lot of hot songs this year? Yeah.
Oh, so mine, I just pulled it up. I knew it. Remember I told you? Taylor Swift, K-pop Demon Hunters, Zombies.
Okay.
That's from Descendants, the cast, you know, Disney. Freya Sky, who's also from Zombies, and EJ, who's from K-pop Demon Hunters.
Okay.
Who's using my phone, you think?
Yeah, I mean, same thing.
I wonder,
I'm not going to look at mine because it's going to be Paw Patrol and, like, Bat Wheels, so.
Yeah. And Coco Melon. The wheels on the bus. Hey, you know, different seasons, different strokes for different folks, right?
For sure, I know.
His is all Gunna, so I'm not even going to ask him.
Gunna, Future, you know, Black Fortune.
It is funny though, like last year, it seems like every single person, their number one was Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I mean, it just ran the gamut where everybody. So I'm hoping to see some different names leading.
A little switch up,
yeah.
All right, we'll see. And if you like the flip-flops of the early 2000s, you may like Samsung's new first-ever multi-folding phone. The Galaxy X Trifold will cost consumers more than $2,000 and feature a 10-inch display using 3 panels. U.S. consumers can expect to see the phone on shelves as early as the first quarter of next year. I'm always surprised when these things come after the holidays because I feel like these are always hot items for the holidays. It's been a long, long time. I think since the inception of the iPhone that we've really been excited for like new technology.
It's sort of like a bendable. That's what I was just about to say. We always can just be. Yeah, it's like a bendable iPad. It's like having one of these things and you just fold it like that. Right?
I don't know if it's going to have the satisfying flip of the old school.
And how are you going to put it in your pocket?
But nobody wants anything too big.
It's huge. It's like a TV that you have. No one's walking around with a TV in their hands.
Or you just walking down the street like, hey, what's
shows up with it.
I mean, of course.
He's an Apple guy, so he's not going for like the
I know, but it looks so cool, you know, just to test it out.
I'm curious, like honestly, think about like the last big technology that we've had. It's been a while, and I think we're ready for it, guys, and it hasn't shown up.
But you know what? With that size, you're going to get a screen protector for that thing? Because I don't know about you, but I'll drop my phone.
Get like a fence on that.
Like a bendable.
Back in the day, we just lived without them. I don't know how, but we did.
We survived.
Had my T-Mobile Sidekick. Y'all don't know about that.
Wow, and we were like
we survived the snow. The no snow.
Well, you know, we were showing a live camera out at Deep Creek Lake this morning, and I will say that is far. That's in western Garrett County. They've got some elevation, but total winter wonderland. It was like, I couldn't even believe it. I'm like, oh wow, this is really happening.
You guys said that, like in the metropolitan area, we were not going to see.
Did we go below
expecting.
freezing?
At Reagan, I don't even think we did. No, it was just rain here.
My question, because we did get snow, it was in the forecast. Like, is that considered our first snow of the season?
Good question.
Technically, it has to be measurable snowfall at Reagan National. So that did not happen. Even actually a trace would count. It didn't happen. But for other parts of our area, yes, they did see their first snow.
Right now, it looks sunny out there.
I know. It's very difficult in this region because you've got many different elevations, many different microclimates due to not just the elevation, but the impact of the ocean, of the bay, river. They all play a part. And when temperatures are marginal, as they were last night, you're going to get a variety of precipitation. When it's really cold and everybody gets snow and no one gets anything else, those are the fun storms. They're also the easy ones, but TBD on when that first one will occur. So I will say the one thing that's not changing is the cold. That will be entrenched through the rest of the week and into the weekend, meaning our next chance of precipitation may bring the chance of snow for everybody. Look at this beautiful shot with our Fox 5 Sky camera at the wharf. A nice end to such a dreary day. I mean, that was a cold, cold rain this morning into this afternoon, and now we've got a little bit of sunshine back to steer us into Wednesday. 42 degrees at Reagan National. Northwest winds are picking up. They're sustained at 18 miles an hour. We've had a few higher gusts. We want the wind. What you want to do is clear out all that moisture before temperatures fall below freezing tonight so you don't deal with too much of a refreeze. I think we will have some in pockets, but the wind does help eliminate some of that. 42 degrees in D.C. right now, 38 in Gaithersburg, 37 in Frederick, 39 in Martinsburg, and 37 in Winchester. A lot of clearing going on from west to east. That back edge of our storm system has crossed the bay. Rain hung up along the coast. It's still raining off to our north and east for New York and Boston. That's snow in interior New England, but this will all push offshore overnight tonight. And here's Futurecast, which kind of shows those clearing skies. A few upslope snow showers for the mountains, but generally we all wake up to sunshine tomorrow, but we do wake up to cold temperatures. Everybody at 32 or below. I mean, that's chilly in the 20s for our surrounding suburbs. A quiet day tomorrow. Great to have that sunshine back, and temperatures will rise in the low to mid 40s. That's still about 10 degrees below normal for this time of year, and we will maintain that status. In fact, even getting colder into the end of the week. Our average high is 52. We'll be in the low 40s through Thursday. How about a high of only 35 on Friday? Next chance of snow is Friday. We'll show you the model, talk about the full 7-day coming up. Angie?
Looking forward to it, Caitlin. Thank you. Still to come also, one local leader says goodbye as 2 more are welcomed. The new president and vice president of the Montgomery County Council.
Then at 5, a stark warning about the importance of early screening, why researchers think more young Americans are getting cancer. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Outgoing Montgomery County Council President Kate Stewart wrapped up her one-year term today. She released a video this morning highlighting the council's work under her leadership and reflecting on what she calls major progress in 2025. Stewart says serving as council president has been one of the greatest honors. In the meantime, the Montgomery County Council electing council member Natalie Fanny Gonzalez as its newest president and council member Marilyn Balcom as vice president. Fanny Gonzalez chairs the Economic Development Committee and is also a member of the council's Planning, Housing and Parks Committee. Balcom represents District 2 and serves on the council's Economic Development Committee and Transportation and Environment Committee. The two will now serve one-year terms as council officers.
This evening, Montgomery County parents are set to show up at a meeting tonight over school boundaries. Parents in Gaithersburg say the latest options for the new Crown High School are unfair and leave their community at a disadvantage. It comes as the country releases new boundary options. Our Sharon Roget is digging into what this could mean for your family. She'll have more coming up at 5.
A new initiative launching in Maryland today, all to help turn school staff into full-time teachers. Governor Wes Moore today announcing the new Grow Your Own Educators Grant Program. Now, it's a nearly $20 million program training teachers to fill the state's teacher shortage. The program focuses on recruiting young men to be teachers as well. Men currently make up less than 1/4 of Maryland teachers. Teacher vacancies in the state have gone down 50% over the last year. Well, still to come, we are talking cleaning up the Chesapeake, how leaders across the DMV are now coming together to protect the shared bay.
Plus, a county bus hitting and killing a local teacher. Our Bob Barnard is live with more on this one. Bob?
Yeah, hey there, guys. She was out for a run after work in her neighborhood here near the Ashburn Metro Station. The rest of the story when Fox 5 at 4 comes right back.
Top stories are following at 4:30, everyone. A man in St. Mary's County, Maryland, convicted after the biggest drug bust in the county's history.
That's right. 39-year-old Antoine Marquis Johnson arrested after the sheriff's office allegedly seized more than 47 pounds of narcotics. A release says that the seized drugs include cocaine and fentanyl worth more than $2 million. Johnson faces a maximum sentence of 100 years in prison.
Police arresting a man accused of threatening employees at a Fairfax County restaurant. 23-year-old Hadi Aboud is facing charges after allegedly threatening those employees with a knife and destroying property yesterday at Saba Yemeni in Fairfax. Police say this happened after he got into an argument with the restaurant's manager over his employment status. Fortunately, no one was hurt.
Well, Virginia Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger announcing her pick for the next Health and Human Services Secretary today. Marvin Figueroa is a veteran senior official of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. He previously served as the Deputy HHS Secretary under former Virginia Governor Ralph Northam and was also a health policy advisor to U.S. Senator Mark Warner.
A Northern Virginia preschool teacher hit and killed by a Loudoun County transit bus.
And now, investigators are trying to figure out what caused this crash. Fox 5's Bob Barnard is live in Ashburn tonight with the details. Bob?
And this is a fairly new area developing around the Ashburn metro station. The victim, a woman named Alyssa K. Cole, was struck and killed by that bus in a roadway here around 6:30 last night. Now, her family sharing with us photos of Alyssa. She was 34 years old, grew up in Purcellville, was a 2010 graduate of Loudoun Valley High School. They say they want to know the circumstances of her death. They say she was out for a run after work. Loudoun County Sheriff's investigators were back here at the scene of the collision this afternoon. It's the intersection of Moorfield Boulevard and Cross-On Lane, just about 200 yards from the Ashburn Metro Station. The Sheriff's Office says the striking vehicle was a Loudoun County transit bus. How the fatal collision happened, we just don't know. Alyssa lived about a 15-minute walk from here. There are no crosswalks or streetlights in this area.
That is just so sad, you know. We have to be very cautious in walking. I'm almost 81 years old, and I watch all the time. I look in all directions, and you always have to watch. Even when you have a walk sign, even if there's a crosswalk, you always have to be so cautious of all the drivers. And, of course, the drivers, if there's no crosswalk, they're allowed to go. So people just have to really be cautious and watch.
There's not enough streetlights. And I think that's really ultimately what led to the accident. I don't think this was, I just think it was just a wrong place, wrong time.
Now, according to her family and Facebook page, Alyssa worked as a teacher at the Gardner School of Herndon. We've reached out to them today, but have not heard back. Sheriff investigators are asking anyone who may have some information about what happened last night to please get in touch with them. There are no cameras here, and still a mystery as to how this fatal collision happened, guys.
Thank you, Bob. Maryland native Luigi Mangione back in a New York courtroom today. His attorneys arguing that they continue to fight to exclude certain evidence, including his notebook and gun from his murder trial. Mangione is accused of gunning down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last year in New York City. Mangione's lawyers claiming there was unconstitutional police conduct that threatens his right to a fair trial.
President Trump says that he wants to rebuild Dulles International Airport, calling it incorrectly designed. The president's motorcade took an unannounced drive-through the terminal at Dulles last month. Now, at the time, the White House said the president wanted to assess potential future projects. Today, he made clear he plans to rebuild that airport.
It's got a beautiful terminal. Saarinen was the architect, one of the greatest architects in the world at the time, a great architect. And so they have a great building and a bad airport, but we're going to turn that around.
The president's comments come as his administration is also working on plans to repair these so-called people movers at Dulles. This after one crashed last month. The Department of Transportation currently requesting bids for those repairs.
Members of the Chesapeake Executive Council approving the revised Chesapeake Bay Watershed Agreement today. The agreement to guide a multi-state and federal effort to restore and protect the Chesapeake Bay by 2040 was approved during a council meeting in Baltimore.
The momentum that we are now seeing throughout the Chesapeake Bay to be able to protect this heirloom is because of partnership. That we're only 40 years into a concerted effort to make sure that we're restoring the Chesapeake Bay and the land and the waterways that surround it, knowing that we did not create it, but it is our job to protect it.
The plan includes wetland creation, oyster restoration, and waterbird habitat protection as part of a multi-billion-dollar bay cleanup effort.
Well, still to come, the D.C. Council taking action today to help boost streeteries across the nation's capital, how the new move could help local restaurants.
Plus, a new study reveals more health risks for kids who get their first cell phones at a young age, what parents need to know.
After scoring big for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, hopefully you're also participating in Giving Tuesday. We are live at a local event where you can give back.
The D.C. Council has approved emergency legislation aimed at boosting the district's streeteries.
And this all comes after complaints that recent changes to that program were too restrictive and too expensive for restaurants. Fox 5's Tom Fitzgerald is live at the Wilson Building tonight. And Fitz, you were actually there for this vote, and it seems like the public outcry really played a role in this last-minute move.
It did play a role, probably not as big of a role as a lot of those restaurateurs would have liked to have seen. But these new streetery rules, they only started on Monday, and they would have had the restaurants not only start paying for that road space they were taking up with these streeters, but it was also going to force them to start paying for what they said were too expensive permits to operate them. There are also going to be some new rules on the design of these structures. So by and large, a lot of these changes brought an earful to the D.C. Council from both these restaurant business owners and the general public as well. So what's this all about? Well, restaurant owners said that if they had gone ahead with these changes, the cost under the new rules that started Monday would have run between $15,000 and $24,000 a year. Those restaurant owners say that's a price they can't afford. So council members Kenya McDuffie and Charles Allen, they both teamed up. They came up with emergency legislation that was passed today that is going to reduce but not eliminate that road rent from $20 a square foot to $15 a square foot. That's going to allow a little more flexibility in the streetery design.
The legislation the council is going to pass today is going to help make sure that we have some common sense rules and guidelines to make sure that they work, but also work with our restaurants so that they're successful, they can be year-round, and I'm excited about what's going to be for their future.
Fitz, before you go, many of these businesses have been taking down, these streeteries, knowing these rules were on the way, right? But how many have applied for permits under these new rules?
Shamari, I think we're going to, in the future, start seeing a lot less of these streeteries on the street in D.C. Look, there are about 170 throughout the district. Shamari, right now, only about half that number have actually applied for these new permits. So, you know, right there, you can cut this number in half. Some of these businesses say, you know, look where we are in the calendar right now. It's no secret. Streeters were never really even all that full in the winter months. It's December 2nd right now. We're probably not going to see the full impact of where we're at with this probably until the spring and the summer. And by the way, this emergency legislation, Shamari, this only runs through the middle of July. In order to make this permanent, council's going to have to come back in, take this all up, and pass what would be a blanket rule on these, not just this emergency fix.
It's always great. Thank you for breaking that all down for us. Appreciate it. Still ahead, as we look ahead to 2026, we're also taking a look back at all of the crazy stories we've covered in 2025. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of them, man.
This is the time we do the year in review, right? We get that started. Also getting a sneak peek at some of TMZ's most outrageous moments of 2025. But first, we need to check in with Caitlin for more on this forecast and more winter weather headed our way.
Yeah, December 2nd, and many of you to the northwest can say you've already seen your first flakes of the season. Not yet here in D.C. We'll have to wait for the next opportunity. Tomorrow, we get the sunshine back, but it remains pretty brisk out there. Cold, with temperatures about 10 degrees below normal. That cold's not going anywhere. We'll have a look at the weekend and another snow chance coming up in your 7-day.
Well, it is the age-old debate. At what age should you give your kids one of those cell phones? Well, now new research suggests that children who have smartphones by the age of 12 are at a higher risk of lack of sleep, obesity, and depression. The research published in the journal Pediatrics showed that of the kids who received smartphones as children or preteens, 31% were at greater odds than their peers to suffer from depression. They were also 40% more likely to struggle with obesity and 62% more likely to get less sleep.
In the meantime, a new House panel wants to protect kids from big tech. Congress is concerned about companies having access to data on children who grew up on the internet.
Social media has been labeled the primary culprit, and for good reason. Countless studies and multiple congressional hearings make clear that social media is not only addictive service for children, but is also harmful for their mental acuity and overall mental health.
3 bills were also submitted this week to tighten oversight on social media platforms. The bills will also expand safeguards for children and use tax revenue to fund education programs.
The Black Heritage Museum of Arlington is a small nonprofit and with a larger-than-life mission, preserving the Black history of Arlington County in Northern Virginia.
Now, on this Giving Tuesday, our Gwen Talbert is there to tell us how your generosity can help them. Hey, Gwen.
Hi there, and your generosity is needed so badly here. It is small, but wow, it offers so much. And you might walk by and not even notice it, but you know what? You'll notice it when you come inside. This is our good friend here, who is the founder and president, Scott Irwin Taylor. Thanks for being with us today here.
We appreciate it so much. We appreciate you, really do.
Tell me, we talked about this being small but big on a mission. Tell me about that.
Well, it's big on a mission because we're very small, but we have a whole lot of information. And as I told you before, if we get a bigger place, I can put more stuff up. I got a lot of stuff stored out, a lot more information that people don't even know about that I can't really show because I don't have enough room. So we're hoping to get a bigger place and that we can show all these things to everybody. That's the most important thing.
So what are some of the things people would learn in here?
Well, you're going to learn about the Black history in Arlington, about some of the enslaved people who are resilient, who invented things, who bought things, who bought education, about our schools. Sometimes, at one time, our schools were segregated, and we're going to learn about some of those great educators. We talked about the celebrities, the Bird of Flag, and all those types of people that were here. Things that people just don't know about Arlington, and Arlington should be very proud. We were the first to do a whole lot of things here.
All right, well, we've got some video we want to show our viewers. Take a look, because when Scott talks about expanding, that is something that's really important, because this place is small. They want to be able to grow, and they want to be able to, as he said, house more exhibits that he has around. So tell me about the place that you're hoping to get.
Well, we're talking about the trolley house, but we're hoping to get any space, really. There's a lot of empty spaces right here in Arlington that are just been empty for years, and we're hoping maybe we can get something like that. This is needed in Arlington, and we've been going worldwide with this. There's people in Germany asking questions about this history.
All right, well, back out here live now, speaking of the history, we're in front of what it says Arlington House James Park and Arlington House Selena Norris Gray. So there's a lot here. So tell me, how can people help to donate to help you get another place and to help you even sustain what you have?
Right, you can go to our website and donate. You can come by and volunteer. Come by and see me, and we talk about some things. We're going to do some fundraisers coming up next year, and hopefully you'll be a part of it. We'll see you're not so busy. And just be a part of this experience. We're also putting plaques around Arlington with enslaved people's names on them. We have a lot of things that we're doing inside and outside of these walls, not just in here.
All right, so what is your website?
Website is arlingtonblackheritage.org.
All right, make sure you go on this Giving Tuesday and give back to this great cause. Back to you.
It always feels good to give back. It does, right?
Pay it forward.
Okay, well, is this weather giving? That is the question that we are asking as we take you live outside from our Fox 5 Skycam. This is, I believe, in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and that is a man-made ice rink, from what I understand.
That is, and I would love to
cool.
go check out that tree right there, Ange. Why not, right?
Oh, it's so pretty.
But we got to make sure the weather's okay for that. I don't want to be freezing. Let's get right over to Caitlin with a look at our full forecast.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's been a tough day, you guys. A little winter weather for some, a cold rain for most of us. It's finally clearing out. And as we do clear tonight, temperatures will fall back below freezing. They rose above today. But as they do, there's still plenty of moisture out there. So you want to watch for some icy spots tonight, particularly where we got a little bit of winter weather. It'll turn into not a bad Wednesday. Dry, sunny, that part's great. But it'll stay cold, and it's going to stay cold for a while. Straight through the weekend into next week, this pattern is not breaking quickly. And with that, we could have another winter weather threat maybe on Friday, some snow. The chance is there, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, let's recap today. Never even got close to freezing at Reagan National. 36 was the low temperature, just a cold rain reported through the morning, but a beneficial amount of rain, just under an inch, 0.86, and we need it, and we're off to a good start here for December after a very dry November. High temperature, just 42 degrees, 11 degrees below normal, and when all is said and done, I think this first half of December is really going to come in as well below normal temperature-wise. We're mostly in the low 40s in the metro, but there are some mid to upper 30s north and west, so not too far to go to fall back to the freezing mark late tonight. There's the back edge of the rain crossing the bay, and a lot of that has even moved offshore by now, so just some residual showers at the beaches, rain New York, Boston, snow interior New England. Looking ahead through tonight, skies clear. The winds will pick up a bit. It's already a little breezy. That'll help dry us out, but you see even here in D.C. we fall to 32 degrees, so again, just be worry of any icy spots as you step outside the door tomorrow morning. Nice sunny dry day, 44 for that high temperature on your Wednesday. And we will see a dry couple of days. Wednesday, Thursday, our storm system's out of here. This is the European model, which shows high pressure overhead for the middle part of the week. As we get closer to Friday, the European model developing a wave just to our south, which, due to how cold it looks on Friday, would spread snow across the region during the day. I will say some of the models are not buying this. They're not putting down any precipitation, but this chance has kind of come and gone over the past week, and we are definitely seeing the signals also because it will be so cold on Friday. So that shot is there. And if we do get winter weather, it does look like even here in the metro, we could see a little bit of snow. So the parade of cold will continue both before and after that winter weather chance deep into the weekend and beyond. In fact, the coldest burst yet might arrive next Monday. And with that, you guessed it, maybe another chance of rain and snow. For the weekend, though, it looks very chilly as we kick off December festivities here. Tree lighting ceremonies, Santa visitations, holiday parties, lots of shopping. It'll be good for it in the sense that it's dry, but it will be chilly with high temperatures only in the low 40s. So there's your 7-day. Wow, it looks wintry. Chance of snow Friday, dry weekend. Chance of rain and snow arrives again next Monday and Tuesday. That's your 7-day. Angie, back over to you.
Okay, thank you, Caitlin. Well, we are closing in on the end of 2025, and what a year it really has been when it comes to celebrity news, from affairs all caught on camera, major trials, lawsuits and counter lawsuits, and star-studded celebrity weddings. I'm out of breath. The list goes on. TMZ and Michael Babcock has been watching it all closely, joining us live all year long. And so Michael, I just got to start with, is there one in particular, a jaw-dropping event of the year that really caught the TMZ team by surprise? What would you say that'd be?
Hey, Angie. Yeah, you look back at the year and you start to realize there's a lot of stuff, a lot of big stories that have happened this year. I think if I had to choose one, and I'm not saying that this is ultimately number one, I'm not sure what the consensus ultimately was, but I think the Diddy trial, Angie, been growing up in the 90s and remembering Biggie with Puffy, obviously, at the time, and just how much of a mogul Diddy had become over the years, and how famous he was, and how powerful. And just then to see him in that courtroom day in, day out, fighting, literally for his life. He was potentially facing life behind bars if he were convicted on those more serious charges, Angie. And to look at those two extremes, I think that above all else is what sticks out to me, or stands out to me as the biggest, at least when it comes to the celebrity news, the biggest story of 2025. Diddy on trial.
I think Oxford came out and said rage bait's the word of the year. I feel like I heard the word baby oil more than anything else this whole year, right?
Right, more than I wanted, yeah.
And, there's the Bezos wedding. There's also, the Kardashians are always up in there. And then, of course, Wendy Williams, too. I mean, that was a big story.
Oh, that's a big one.
Broke.
Yeah, I mean, right. And I remember there was that one image, and maybe that's the most striking image of the year. Wendy at that, fifth floor of the memory care unit at this facility in Manhattan that she is not allowed to leave, Angie, where she has no free will. She can't go as she pleases. And to see her pressed against the glass and just begging desperately to get out of that place. I mean, that image kind of been seared in my head as Wendy is still fighting to get out of that place, Angie.
Well, we can't wait to see all the commentary. I will say that I checked the credits, not once, but twice. No Michael Babcock hosting or singing.
Am I not?
You're not.
You know what, Angie? I am on the show. I am. I think I talked about Hulk Hogan, and I did too. I can't remember what the other one was.
Yeah, but you weren't like main hosting with Harvey and his cool shirt. So you know what? You let Harvey know. Cool shirt, but outrageous moment 2025, number 11. No Babcock on the couch.
There it was.
That's right. We love you, Michael.
Shamari, my
Michael
man.
Babcock forever, okay? We love
you guys.
Oh my God.
Can't do this show without you. Okay, we are all
You guys are the
tonight.
best.
Thank you.
Hi, Angie.
And you can, of course, watch it right after Like It or Not, TMZ's most outrageous moments of 2025 at 9 p.m. right before you catch us at 10. Me and Jim doing the news.
All right, everyone. Still to come, another holiday tree lighting is getting ready for kickoff in D.C. The special guest that will be at Union Station tonight. We'll be right back.
Participation may vary.
Okay, not to freak you out, but Christmas is just 3 weeks away now. And tonight, you can take part in some holiday festivities at the Norwegian tree lighting in D.C. Our very own Marissa Mitchell will be emceeing that free event, kicking off in just about an hour at Union Station. She'll be joining us live, by the way, ahead of that lighting ceremony in the next hour.
That's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, your News at 5 with Jim and Marina starts right now.
Appearing from a hospital bed, the suspected National Guard shooter pleading not guilty, all while the remaining troops patrolling D.C. get the green light to carry weapons.
Plus, a new fight over SNAP benefits put Democratic states in limbo, while the president is again threatening to cut off food aid for millions.
Yeah, and a teacher struck and killed by a Loudoun County transit bus just feet away from a metro station.
Plus, after months of hearings, a look at a long-awaited proposal that could open the door to a legal cannabis retail market in Virginia.
But we begin at 5 with several fast-moving developments in the shooting of 2 National Guards members in our nation's capital. Today, the Pentagon announcing all National Guard troops will now be armed.
That comes as the suspect makes his first virtual appearance in court today, pleading not guilty to a slew of charges. Our chief legal correspondent, Katie Barlow, joins us live with new details on what led up to that shooting.
Hey, good evening, guys. Even though Rachmanullah Lochinwall's lawyers argued today that he should be released from custody once he gets out of the hospital because he has no criminal history, Judge Renee Raymond said there was no combination of factors that could ensure the safety of the community if he was released. She said that his actions caused and continue to animate, quote, sheer terror. So Lochinwall will remain in custody, eventually behind bars when he's out of the hospital, now facing 4 charges, including murder, 2 gun charges, and assault with intent to kill. All of these charges are violations of D.C.'s criminal code. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro says she's continuing to look at potential additional charges, including a federal case.
I would expect that to happen because it's a lot cleaner to pursue the death penalty in the federal system than you would in state court. I do believe that the state court prosecution here is just a placeholder to get charges filed and, move the case forward, while the federal system tends to move a little bit slower.
Lochinwall pleaded not guilty to the charges filed under D.C.'s criminal code. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro's office revealed new images of Lochinwall standing outside the metro station last Wednesday before he started running toward the victims. Now, according to court documents, Lochinwall shouted Allahu Akbar as he shot toward law enforcement officers. A major in the West Virginia National Guard shot Lochinwall and, together with a member of the Secret Service, restrained him while he was attempting to reload his gun. Now, according to officials, D.C.'s chief medical officer has confirmed that Specialist Sarah Beckstrom died from a single gunshot wound to the back of the head, and Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf is currently in the hospital suffering from a gunshot wound to the head as well. Now, Trump has said he wants to reinstate the death penalty in Washington, D.C. Today, we asked Pirro whether she's considering it in Lochinwall's case.
That is a very weighty decision. That is a decision that comes later in time, and that is one that ultimately the Attorney General will make. My job and the job of my office and the great federal partners, the investigative partners who work around the clock, and I wish you could see these people. They don't sleep. They work around the clock investigating this case. Our job is to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt.
Lochinwall is due back in court now January 14th.
A swatting call leading to a massive police response at Bethesda Chevy Chase High School today. The school placed on lockdown for a brief period this afternoon. Montgomery County Police still investigating at this hour.
All right, let's turn to weather right now, and we're going to give you a live look at our Fox 5 Skycam over the wharf, over towards the Case Memorial Bridge tonight. Got to look at the horizon, too, as well. Wrapping up what was a very eventful start to the day, and a really big mix where, depending where you live.
Yeah, certainly, and certainly we saw delays across the board for a lot of schools. No cancellations, the good news, but the sun finally coming out. The temperatures, not so much.
Yeah, the temperature's not going anywhere. I mean, this cold is sticking around for the foreseeable future here, and we're not done with our winter weather chances through the course of this week. We will get a break from it, though. And what did we tell you? We said it would be all chaos this morning and your evening commute would be fine. Well, I can't speak to the traffic out there, which is never fine during the evening commute here in D.C., but at least weather, not really much of an impact tonight after all of that stuff, as we'll call it, went through here this morning. So if you're up real early, and this was mostly pre-dawn, a lot of the area actually saw, at least briefly, a bit of mix. I-95 even got in on the action in areas north and west. Now, it did not last long. You woke up at sunrise, well, it was all gone here in the D.C. area, if it even stuck at all. To get anything that laid on the ground, you had to get up into northwestern portions of Maryland. But at least on radar, anywhere you see that coloring there, it did pick up some frozen precipitation falling across much of the D.C. region early. We did switch it over to all rain, and it is out of here. Sun breaking out. It is a gorgeous sunset on that sky cam. Behind the backside of the system, drier air moving in, and that will provide more sunshine for tomorrow. Just not going to be a very warm day. Reagan National Airport, an absolutely glorious sunset overhead. Temperatures right now cold in the 40s and the upper 30s. More on what could be waiting later this week coming up in just a few minutes. Stick around, guys.
The White House now threatening to withhold SNAP food aid from people living in Democratic-led states, which would include our entire region. The Trump administration revealed that during the cabinet meeting today, that it won't allocate aid unless states provide more data on who receives assistance, including names and immigration status, in an effort to combat what it calls alleged fraud.
We have been moving people off of SNAP. We've got almost 700,000 people, I think, we've moved off.
Definitely it's going to hurt a lot of people because you never know, you know what, especially now that we're in the holidays and everybody wants to have a good dinner and everything.
1 in 8 adults relies on SNAP to buy groceries. Democratic-led states have already sued to block the requirements. Meantime, federal vaccine advisors appointed by Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. are considering delaying or eliminating the hepatitis B birth dose and reviewing whether childhood vaccines contribute to allergies or autoimmune disorders. This comes after the panel replaced longtime members with RFK's handpicked vaccine critics. Members will look at vaccine timing and ingredients, including aluminum, as part of a broader re-examination of the childhood immunization schedule.
All right, Virginia could have a legal cannabis market by next year. Today, a state-appointed commission unveiled a blueprint for how recreational marijuana sales would work in the Commonwealth. Fox 5's Homa Bash live in Arlington tonight to explain. Homa?
Marina, good evening. Medical dispensaries in Virginia like this one have been around for about 5 years, but getting into a retail market that has proven to be much more of a challenge. Now, if all goes as planned and pending legislative approval, we could see recreational sales here in the Commonwealth by November 2026, something that they tell me here they would be very excited about.
As you know, our goal has been to listen, and I think we have. And so this bill hopefully has a little for everybody. And it builds a new market that supports hundreds of small businesses and strengthens Virginia agriculture, reduces the racial disparities created by the prohibition on marijuana.
Now, the Marijuana Commission met today with 7 pages of recommendations after months of hearings and studies, 5 years since Virginia legalized possession and cultivation. Some key points from the proposed bill: it favors small businesses and gets rid of opt-outs for localities while making sure they receive a percentage of revenue that is expected to be tax revenue that is expected to be some $400 million over 5 years. It also looks to curb the illicit market while reinvesting in communities hit hardest by laws during the war on drugs era. Here's State Senator Aaron Rouse, who helped sponsor the legislation. Rouse telling me creating a level playing field was essential.
So that means that no one would have an opportunity to corner the market. And that's one of the things that I fought hard to make sure that not only that this bill prioritizes Virginia small businesses, but it sets it up so that everyone can go to the market at the same time.
Now, last year, Governor Glenn Youngkin vetoed legislation that would have created a legal cannabis market in the state. Today, Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger telling Fox 5 she believes the Commonwealth needs a clear strategy to set up a market that prioritizes public safety and grows Virginia's economy. She also believes commercial revenue should be reinvested into things like strengthening the state's public schools. Spanberger saying that she is looking forward to working with the General Assembly to find a path forward. Again, the soonest this could happen, recreational cannabis sales here in the Commonwealth, is November 2026. Guys.
Americans are facing a growing affordability crisis. Grocery and energy prices keep climbing, rent is out of control, and it feels like you need a second mortgage just to send your kid to daycare.
Virginia Senator Mark Warner announcing his re-election campaign as he seeks a 4th term next year. Three other Democrats have lined up to challenge Warner in the primary next June. He was first elected to the Senate seat back in 2008.
The Montgomery County Council electing Councilmember Natalie Fani Gonzalez as its newest president, and Councilmember Marilyn Balcombe as vice president today. The two will now serve one-year terms as council officers. Meanwhile, outgoing Montgomery County President Kate Stewart wrapped up her one-year term today, releasing a video this morning highlighting the council's work under her leadership and reflecting on what she calls major progress over the past year.
All right, still to come, criticisms mounting over U.S. strikes on Venezuelan boats, but the Pentagon says they've only just begun.
Plus, Bob Barnard following a story out of Loudoun County tonight.
A Northern Virginia preschool teacher is struck and killed by a Loudoun County transit bus. We'll have the rest of the story when Fox 5 comes right back.
Virginia preschool teacher hit and killed by a Loudoun County transit bus, and now investigators are trying to piece together her final moments. Fox 5's Bob Barnard in Ashburn tonight with those details.
This is a fairly new area developing around the Ashburn Metro Station. The victim, a woman named Alyssa K. Cole, was struck by that bus in a roadway around 6:30 last night. Now, her family is sharing with us photos of Alyssa. She was 34 years old, grew up in Purcellville, was a 2010 graduate of Loudoun Valley High School. They say they want to know the circumstances of her death. They say she was out for a run after work. Loudoun County Sheriff's investigators were back here at the scene of the collision this afternoon. It's the intersection of Moorfield Boulevard and Cross-On Lane, just about 200 yards from the Metro Station. The Sheriff's Office says the striking vehicle was a Loudoun County transit bus. How the fatal collision happened, we just don't know. Alyssa lived about a 15-minute walk from here. There are no crosswalks or streetlights in this area.
That is just so sad, you know. We have to be very cautious in walking. I'm almost 81 years old, and I watch all the time. I look in all directions, and you always have to watch. Even when you have a walk sign, even if there's a crosswalk, You always have to be so cautious about the drivers. And of course, the drivers, if there's no crosswalk, they're allowed to go. So people just have to really be cautious and watch.
There's not enough streetlights. And I think that's really ultimately what led to the accident. I don't think this was, I just think it was just wrong place, wrong time.
According to her family and Facebook page, Alyssa worked as a teacher at the Gardner School of Herndon. We've reached out to them but have not heard back. Sheriff's investigators say there are no cameras in this area that recorded the fatal collision, so they're asking anyone who may have seen what happened to please give them a call.
I-95 in Responsibility County back open tonight after a hit-and-run crash shut down the southbound side for an hour this morning. It happened just before 9 o'clock when a tractor-trailer was involved. 3 people were hurt, one of them seriously.
All right, let's get another check-in with Mike Thomas here as we see these temperatures about 40 degrees right now, at least on the board. And I think, Mike, when you see this kind of event with all this rain, the potential for ice is always there if the temperatures allow.
Yeah, and temperatures are going to drop tonight. So patchy icing certainly possible. We don't think it's going to be a major issue. It's not overly windy tonight, but it is a bit breezy out there, and the wind's a drying mechanism. So that should help things improve rather quickly. Side roads, side streets, and areas to the far northwest where there was a little bit of accumulation. Certainly watch out for some slippery spots. And that cold that settles in, well, it's not going anywhere. And in fact, it's even going to get reinforced later this week. This is a December like we haven't had in quite some time here in Washington, where it feels much more kind of like a mid-winter pattern with how some of these temperatures have been coming in. 42 degrees. And yeah, that's not normal. That's 11 degrees below the seasonal normal this afternoon. And that high, we hit it late in the day once that sun started finally fighting through those clouds. 3:52 in the afternoons when we hit our high temperature. Low temp this morning, 36, so stayed above freezing. That's why we didn't get any snow in D.C. But, man, we finally got a good rain event. Almost an inch of rain fell at Reagan National Airport with this event that we just had over the course of the last 12 hours. Still hanging at 40. D.C., Gaithersburg, 36. So is Frederick, Westminster, Dulles, 38. Quantico sitting at 42. Overnight, we do drop into the 20s in a lot of spots as skies clear out. Drier air moves in. That can cool faster, and that's why tomorrow morning a lot of us will wake up to those temperatures in the 20s. D.C. down to about freezing this evening. So, again, patchy, slick spots, certainly possible. Sidewalks and parking lots, watch those areas. Anywhere there was a little bit of puddling should certainly freeze over tonight. Now, satellite and radar showing those clearing skies and the quieter pattern moving in behind this storm system, which, look, didn't just miss D.C. in terms of snowfall, but New York got a lot of rain, Boston even getting some rain. You had to be in the interior portions of the Northeast to pick up snowfall with this particular system, and that's what we warned you, right? We expected that it would be mostly a rain event here in Washington. High pressure building into the south tomorrow. Keeps the cold air coming, but brings back a lot of sunshine. One of those deceptive days where you look out your window, you might think it's warm, but you pop outside, it's only in the 30s and lower 40s across the D.C. region. So keep that jacket handy. Tomorrow's planner, cold to start and unfortunately cold to finish as well. High temperatures only in the lower 40s here in D.C. tomorrow, which is well below normal. Average highs this time of year still in the 50s. So we're missing out on what's typically the last kind of cool, pleasantly cool afternoons as we get deeper and deeper into the year here. Parade of cold setting up multiple what we call troughs in the atmosphere setting up. Essentially just dips in the jet stream that are bringing wave after wave of cold here across the eastern half of the country. And in between each wave, you always have to watch out for something to kind of sneak up from the south in the form of a storm. Now, what we're watching for later on this week is, first off, this feature, which is going to be key here Wednesday to Thursday. This is a cold front that's coming down that's going to reinforce the cold. Regardless of if there's anything that happens on Friday, it is going to be a very cold day as this is an Arctic front that's coming through. Now, how far south that front gets is key because that front's going to act like train tracks for this system to possibly ride along on Friday afternoon. Now, we're showing you the latest we have, is a European model, which does have a snow event here in D.C. on Friday. There are a few models that do not have this, that suggest this storm's going to get pushed farther to the south and it's not going to turn up the coast. So this is not a guarantee that we're showing you. It's just a threat that could happen around the Friday, maybe Saturday time frame. We're keeping an eye on it. At the moment, it looks more Friday than Saturday. By Friday, we're still cold, or by Saturday, excuse me, we're still cold at 42. Sunday, 43. Clouds fighting around this weekend as well. But if you are making those outdoor plans, we just want to warn you, cold does stick around, and we'll continue to keep you updated on that Friday possible snow here in D.C. Guys?
All right, Mike, thank you. Still ahead, U.S. strikes on alleged drug boats are sparking questions, but the Pentagon shutting out reporters.
Plus, cancer rates are surging among young Americans, and how doctors are rethinking the timeline for screenings. We're back after this. Back now, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth facing new scrutiny over reports he ordered a follow-up strike on an alleged drug boat to kill 2 survivors. He revealed today he wasn't even present for the second strike. The White House is accusing a Navy admiral as it tries to deflect criticism from the secretary.
Deterrence has to matter, not arrest and hand over and then do it again, the rinse and repeat approach of previous administrations. This is meant to get after that approach. And I will just end by saying, as President Trump always has our back, we always have the back of our commanders.
The White House claims the vice admiral who ordered the attack is expected to give a classified briefing this Thursday to lawmakers. It comes as some Democrats call Hegseth's actions equivalent to war crimes.
Meantime, Venezuela will continue accepting deported migrants despite President Trump suggesting the country's airspace be closed. President there, Nicolas Maduro, announced today twice weekly U.S.-operated flights will go on, reversing a prior order. More than 1,300 migrants, regardless of origin country, have been sent to Venezuela this year. The Pentagon also under fire after denying outlets like the Washington Post, the Associated Press, CNN, and Reuters and Newsmax access to rare briefings, while ceding conservative outlets approved by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth instead. Lawmakers probing recent U.S. strikes argue the move undercuts transparency at a moment when public scrutiny is already high. Defense officials calling it a, quote, credentialed press orientation, but critics warn the new rules giving Hegseth too much control over what news gets out.
All right, still to come. First, the president wanted his name on it. Now he's proposing a full revamp of one D.C. area travel hub.
Plus, Lights, Camera, Commanders. Tonight's your chance to get behind-the-scenes access to the team in an all-new series. But first, we're checking in with Tom Fitzgerald live tonight in D.C. Fitz.
Marina, good evening. The D.C. Council passing emergency legislation today to safeguard the streeteries in the district. So why are so many of them hitting the road? We'll talk about that when Fox 5 continues right after this.
Bill to scale back new rules for D.C. streeteries passing overwhelmingly by the D.C. Council today.
Business owners believe the rules, which took effect yesterday, went too far and cost too much. Tom Fitzgerald's live at the Wilson building tonight, and that input seemed to make a big impact here.
Yeah, it made an impact, Jim. Probably not as much as the restaurant owners would have liked, though. These new streetery rules that went into effect only on Monday would have forced these streeteries to start paying higher permit fees that would also regulated things like design of these open-air eatery places. Now, D.C. is pushing back on some of these regulations that just went into effect only 2 days ago in response to a lot of this input from both the restaurant owners themselves and the public who lives around them in some cases. Now, the owners warned that the costs under these new rules that D.C. put in place would have ranged between $15,000 and $24,000. And he said for a lot of them, that was just too high of a price for them to pay. So council members Kenya McDuffie and Charles Allen, well, they teamed up to come up with this emergency legislation to roll back some of this. For example, it went from $20 a square foot on that road rent space to down to $15 a square foot. Also allows them a little more flexibility when it comes to the design of these spaces.
But have survived the COVID pandemic because they've been really become part of the fabric of these businesses and communities and their operations and revenue.
A significant number of restaurants, advisory neighborhood commissioners, members of the general public all expressed concerns around their ability to comply with these new guidelines.
My questions was originally to DDOT about the lost and parking spaces in DC to fit this program.
Now, that was an interesting point because some of these parking spaces might be coming back. Consider there's about 140 businesses that had streeteries so far under this new permit system. Only about half of them have applied for new streetery permits. 38 businesses? Well, they've asked DC to come in and help tear these things down altogether. As yesterday morning's deadline approached, some restaurant owners told Fox 5 these were valuable revenue streams for them. Others say, I think they've probably run their course by now.
So it would be bad. It would be bad for our sales. It would be bad for our staff. This also generates about $100,000 a year in tax revenue for the city and sales tax, so they'd be losing that. So really nobody wins from this.
The city's going to charge us for them a lot. So frankly, they should be taken out.
Okay, there's a timeline on this emergency legislation. It's only going to last 225 days. That's going to take us into July. Councilmember Allen tells Fox 5 tonight that if the city is going to put this in permanently, they're going to have to get to work, and the D.C. councils are going to have to come back in and re-vote on all of these issues. We're live at the Wilson Building tonight. Send it back into you.
D.C. Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton pushing back on federal legislation that she claims will strip power away from the mayor. It came in the form of a statement today. Right now, agencies and courts can give extra consideration to the mayor's interpretation of D.C. laws. Republicans on the Hill are looking to end that practice. They argue courts should be able to make judgments independent of the mayor. Supporters say it protects D.C.'s limited self-governance.
Meanwhile, travelers at Dulles International Airport reacting tonight after the president said he wants to rebuild the airport, calling it incorrectly designed.
Yeah, and he also took aim at those people movers that have been the focus of so many headlines over the last couple of weeks. Tisha Lewis is live from Dulles right now with more. Hi, Tisha.
Hi there, we're inside Dulles International Airport, known for its architectural design, including the curved ceiling above me. Well, the president made an unannounced visit through the terminal here at Dulles last month. At the time, the White House said that the president was just assessing for potential future projects. Well, now, today, President Trump has made it clear he plans to rebuild Dulles.
It's not a good airport. It should be a great airport. It's not a good airport at all. It's a terrible airport. It was incorrectly designed with a good building. Actually, it's got a beautiful terminal.
The president's comments made at the White House today alongside Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. They come as his administration is also working on plans to repair the so-called people movers at Dulles after 2 crashed last month. The Department of Transportation currently requesting bids for those repairs. The president's comments on rebuilding Dulles came as he applauded the airport's architect. We spoke with travelers at Dulles who were split on the idea to rebuild and redesign the 62-year-old airport.
Wow, I don't know. It seems pretty good. I always like coming here, so I think it's all right how it is.
I think there's a lot of other more important infrastructure projects that can be done in the area besides redoing a functional and beautiful airport that's been working just fine for decades.
I think it's a great idea. Sure.
Why?
I mean, it's kind of an old airport and could use some remodeling, refreshing.
We didn't reach reach out to the Washington Metropolitan Airport Authority about all this. They tell Fox 5 they appreciate the administration's interest in making improvements to Dulles International Airport. They go on to say, we look forward to seeing the results of the U.S. Department of Transportation's request for information and working collaboratively with the administration. We always embrace new ideas for Dulles, which is the fastest growing international gateway airport in America. The Airport Authority also telling Fox 5 they want to build on the existing $7 billion capital plan for Dulles, which is underway right now, which includes a new concourse, which they say will open come next fall.
And today, Metro celebrating the groundbreaking of a new senior affordable housing complex at the new Carrollton Metro Station. Leaders from Metro and developer Urban Atlantic putting shovels in the ground, part of an effort by Metro to make the new Carrollton neighborhood more transit-friendly. The project will have nearly 400 units when it's finished, and that is scheduled to open in 2027.
What is it about these division games that just makes it different?
We've been waiting years for this moment.
The Commander is the focus of HBO's new season of Hard Knocks, premiering tonight at 8 o'clock. The series follows Jaden Daniels, Coach Dan Quinn, and other team members through practices, meetings, and off-field events. The season is the first to feature an entire division, the NFC East, instead of a single team.
All right, coming up, a U.S. envoy in Moscow tonight in the latest bid to end the war in Ukraine.
And later, new employment efforts out of Maryland could also help close the state's teacher shortage. We're back after this. Russian President Vladimir Putin is accusing European countries of blocking peace efforts underway in Ukraine. The comments come as he meets with the U.S. delegation in Moscow that includes President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Putin claims Europe made unacceptable demands that hinder the U.S.-led peace plan and warns Russia is ready to respond if Europe starts a war. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met in France yesterday with European leaders who ensured Ukraine should not be pressured to give up land. Speaking today, he believes the outcome of today's talks will determine the next steps and possible ceasefire measures.
Former Honduras President Juan Orlando Hernandez out of federal prison after a pardon from President Trump. He was released yesterday from a West Virginia penitentiary, ending his 45-year drug trafficking sentence. Trump is defending the move by saying Hondurans believe that Hernandez had been set up by the Biden administration. And according to Honduran officials, he could still face corruption-related charges back home, raising new questions days before the country's presidential election. Meantime, protesters gathering in Jerusalem today outside of the home of Israeli President Isaac Herzog, urging him to reject Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's request for a pardon. Netanyahu, the first sitting Israeli prime minister to stand trial, facing charges of fraud, breach of trust, and accepting bribes in 3 separate cases. The prime minister has rejected the allegations and described the case as a witch hunt orchestrated by media and police.
An independent judicial committee in Hong Kong will investigate a deadly apartment fire that killed nearly 160 people, left 40 in the hospital, and about 30 still missing. The initial investigation is focused on how the fire last week spread so quickly, with authorities probing suspected corruption, negligence, and the use of substandard materials during renovations. At least 14 people, including contractors and an engineering consultant, have already been arrested.
All right, so a long-awaited deal to protect local waterways and the people who live near them.
And D.C.'s juvenile curfew extended. We'll tell you what you need to know coming up at 6. But first, here's Caitlin.
And, Jim, we've cleared out nicely from the brief winter weather, but really just that cold rain we had most of our Tuesday. Sunshine returns tomorrow, but the cold's not going anywhere. Look at that 7-day after the break.
Funeral today for a Virginia corrections officer killed by an inmate. 40-year-old Jeremy Lewis Hall died last month after he was attacked by John Holloman Russell, who was serving a 12-year sentence for an armed carjacking in Fairfax. Flags are being flown at half-mast for Hall today.
A new push in Maryland to help turn school staff into full-time teachers. Today, Governor Wes Moore revealed what's being called the Grow Your Own Educators Grant Program. Nearly $20 million will go towards teacher recruiting and training, with a focus on young men who currently make up less than a quarter of Maryland teachers statewide. Teacher vacancies have dropped 50%, though, over the last year. And staying on the school front, there's a major fight brewing over new school boundaries in Montgomery County. Parents right now are in Gaithersburg pushing back on the latest options for the new Crown High School.
Fox 5 Sharon Vergé live outside Gaithersburg High ahead of another meeting on the issue tonight. Sharon.
Yeah, Jim Marina, parents tell me that they are just stunned by these options that were presented by MCPS just last night via Zoom. They say that these options essentially will push Gaithersburg students into overcrowded schools or hand over this brand new Crown High School that many were looking forward to over to a more affluent community. Many parents tell me tonight they're coming here to address this with MCPS directly.
The options that they presented, they throw Gaithersburg under the bus. They actually make it very clear that Gaithersburg is an afterthought. We are dispensable. My concern is my kids are going to end up being bussed out to a school that's going to be overcrowded. The holding school is going to be right in front of us and not serve our students. It's a slap in the face. We've been paying taxes here. We moved here. We had a promise of this high school. Our kids deserve to go here.
Yeah, MCPS now confirms it is formally recommending that Crown High School open as a temporary holding school, a place to house other students while older buildings undergo major renovations, including Magruder, Damascus, and Wooten High Schools. The district says this approach saves money, accelerates construction, and helps solve long-standing CIP challenges and a multi-billion-dollar backlog of renovation needs. But many families here in Gaithersburg argue their community helped fund this new school through impact taxes, and now their students may be sent to already overcrowded campuses, while Crown is then filled with temporary students from other buildings.
Come up with some other creative solutions with the spaces that are available, office spaces that are available to, kind of do holding schools closer to the schools that need renovations. For example, people from Damascus goes to something that is in Germantown versus coming all the way down 270 in a rush hour traffic to Crown High School.
Now we're told that tonight MCPS is taking questions and comments from the community, and they say that this is not their final adopted plan. This will now go to the county executive and the county council for their review, triggering more public input. Guys.
Sharon, thank you. Members of the Chesapeake Executive Council approving the revised Chesapeake Bay Watershed Agreement today. The agreement to guide a multi-state and federal effort to restore and protect the Bay by 2040, approved during a council meeting in Baltimore. The plan includes wetland creation, oyster restoration, and waterbird habitat protection as part of a multi-billion-dollar Bay cleanup effort.
All right, time now is 5:47. We're going to go back to our Fox 5 live camera right now at our tower cam here in Bethesda, looking over towards Friendship Heights tonight as night has fallen.
Yeah, we saw a little peek of the sun there, Caitlin, and hopefully if we keep up with these temperatures, we'll see a little bit more of it for those of us who need it for our mental sanity and clarity.
Absolutely. I mean, we have such a small window of daylight this time of year anyways, so nice to maximize it with a sunny day or two, and we will get that sun back tomorrow. Today, I mean, only the hardiest of hardy people could love out there. I think I know one. But for the rest of us, that was a cold rain that really only relented into the past couple of hours when we cleared out. As we continue to clear and get cold tonight, watch for a little bit of ice where there's some leftover moisture tomorrow morning. The sun will help thaw us out a bit, but temperatures remain stuck below normal through the rest of the week, into the weekend, and even next week. We'll add on to that with another winter threat coming on Friday. More on that in a minute. But first, temperatures really did not rise much from where we started this morning in the 30s. And we started at just 36 at Reagan National. Only saw rain there. Made it up to just 42. Dulles and BWI mostly just reporting rain as well. So no one got any snow at any of the major airports, and technically then not our first snow of the season. However, if you were well out to the north and west, certainly in those higher elevations, you did see a little bit of winter weather. Right now, temperatures mostly in the mid to upper 30s, north and west, low 40s, D.C., south and east. The rain is long gone. It has now cleared the coast. We saw that few peaks of sunshine to end the afternoon before the sun set. And, you know, we are benefiting from a healthy amount of rain that fell overnight into this morning. Radar picking up a good 3/4 to an inch. At Reagan National, officially 0.86 inches of rain fell. So nearly an inch. That's really good. We need it. And we've got just as much water content to the north and west. It's just that they saw a little bit of snow, and this is where radar picked it up. Mix of sleet and snow, a couple inches, far panhandle, western Maryland and northern Maryland, and that was likely kind of washed away or turned to slush once everybody starts to see that change over to rain. There's your overnight clearing. Temperatures near freezing by tomorrow morning. A cold and sunny day, and we should rise into the low 40s. Not a bad one. It's just, you know, it's a little cold, and it has been cold, and we're almost getting used to dressing for the cold at this point. That won't be changing anytime soon, as tomorrow we'll see a high of 44, mostly sunny, a little bit more cloud cover peeking through on Thursday, high of 43. So tomorrow and Thursday, quiet. No issues. We are waiting to see what happens with a developing wave by Friday. Now, the European model on board with precipitation moving in Friday morning as a snow event for much of the area. Other models say not so fast, keep this wave suppressed to the south and east. But if it does develop over us, if the Euro's correct, we could be talking about snow during the day on Friday into Friday night. Regardless, we'll be talking about a reinforcing shot of cold air for the weekend and then again into next week. I mean, look at this long-range forecast, well below normal temperatures over the north and east, not relenting anytime soon. A really kind of wicked first half of December here, and that 7-day is wintry. You see that chance of snow Friday, but again, another system could bring a chance of rain and snow next Tuesday. Jim and Marina, back to you.
Happening now, the annual Christmas tree lighting outside of the U.S. Capitol lit up just moments ago, and this year the tree comes from a national park in Nevada. Meantime, another tree lighting just about to get underway nearby at Union Station.
Yeah, and we know just the person to check it out, our Marissa Mitchell, up late tonight, joining us live from Union Station. Marissa, I love it inside Union Station because it's already a gorgeous building, but when they light it up for Christmas time, it's the place to be.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm inside of a Christmas ornament already, and you're exactly right, Jim and Marina. You look at this tree, it is top tier. So I'm going to get out of the way here so you can see it. It is a stunner, and in just a little over an hour, it will be all lit up, some 40 feet tall, just symbolizing the collaboration and the partnership with the Norwegian Embassy and the U.S. You see the U.S. flags there, Norwegian flags. We have so many people already lined up, sitting down, waiting for this ceremony. Everyone's going to be here. We have Dan Murray, who is known as the Frank Sinatra of the DMV. He's going to perform Olivia. She's a very popular Norwegian singer who actually won their version of The Voice in her home country, and so many more. And of course, Santa and Mrs. Claus, they're going to be in the place as well. But I want to introduce you to Jenny Billfield. She is the CEO and the president of Washington Performing Arts, and you have lots of treats in store as well.
Oh my goodness, this is one of our favorite events of the year. I mean, just Union Station is the cross-section and the crossroads of our city. We're going to hear from our Children of the Gospel Choir, which has been around for 30 years and launching all sorts of young people into their careers. And just look at this incredible environment of community and beauty and holiday goodwill. It just feels fantastic to be here.
I'm going to say this when I get up there, but happy holidays. That's what it feels like.
Happy holidays.
We're picking that up. Maybe we should perform tonight. Who knows? Together. Exactly. And you've been here. This isn't your first go at this thing. You've been coming for years.
We have. And, you know, the Norwegian Embassy and Norcham have been great partners and really dedicated to using this as a showcase for local talent, for Norwegian talent, and also, frankly, for the way that many different organizations partner in making arts happen in all sorts of beautiful and unusual places. And it really is one of the best parts of living in Washington, D.C., the sense of community and arts and global diplomacy. I just love it, and it makes everybody feel so great.
great. And I'm so proud to be a part of it as well. And I know Santa is coming. He has his nice list, he has his naughty list, but I will say, Jim and Marina, that Caitlin is going on that nice list for how the weather cleared up for us all. I know we're indoors, but we wanted good weather. Jenny, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it. And if you want to come out, you still have time. You're live here at Union Station, but come 7 o'clock, that tree will be all lit up. Jim and Marina, back to you.
Marissa, this is why you're the MVP, because of all the Christmas tree lightings that you could have found across the D.C. region, this is the one major one that's inside
Indoors.
on a night like tonight. Well done, my friend. You got yourself the best assignment, a beautiful place at that, and indoors, nice and warm.
Thank you. I'm number one on Santa's nice list. That's why.
That's why. Yes, you are. No call for Marissa. For the rest of us, TBD.
Different story. Yeah. Thanks, Marissa.
Thank you. All right, all month long, we want you to show us your holiday spirit. Share your photos of your holiday decorations at fox5dc.com/InstaShare. You may even see them right here on Fox 5. Of course, we'll keep them up as we get them. We'll be right back.
And we're back now with 5 things to know. 2 former gymnasts who say they were sexually abused are suing the sports oversight organizations. Lawsuits filed in Iowa accuse USA Gymnastics and the U.S. Center for Safe Sport of failing to stop sexual abuse at an elite academy. The complaints focus on coach Sean Gardner, alleging he abused young girls despite repeated reports to authorities.
Luigi Mangione back in a New York courtroom today. His attorneys fighting to exclude certain evidence like his notebook and alleged gun from his murder trial. Mangione accused of gunning down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last year in New York City.
A new study finds up to 24% of breast cancers occur in women aged 18 to 49. The research presented yesterday at a radiology conference in Chicago. It compiled 10 years of data from New York area clinics, concluding women under 40 should no longer be considered low risk by default.
The Supreme Court signaling today that a majority of justices may protect donor privacy in a case involving a faith-based pregnancy center in New Jersey. The center challenging a state subpoena seeking private donor information, saying it could chill donations and violate First Amendment rights. A decision is expected by summer.
And Prada has finalized its $1.4 billion buyout of Versace after receiving all regulatory approvals. Donatella Versace celebrated the deal on Instagram, calling it a new era for the label founded by her late brother. The Milan-based Prada group says it's already preparing to fully integrate Versace into its Italian manufacturing system. That is your fashion news from me, fashion icon Jim Loke.
I was going to say Fashion Nova Loke.
That's right, yeah.
I'll see you back on Like It or Not at 7 o'clock.
You're just impressed they knew how to say Versace right.
But
Some people might say Versace.
Gianni.
Gianni, yeah. All right, the 6 starts right now.
Right now at 6, the alleged D.C. National Guard shooter pleads not guilty in court. Tonight, new details coming to light about what the suspect said just before the deadly attack. Changes could be coming to Dulles International Airport. President Trump says it's time for a rebuild. What's next? And could a legal marijuana market be coming to Virginia? A new plan unveiled today, and we're breaking it down. The 6 starts right now. And off the top here at 6, new revelations on what happened in the moments before the deadly ambush on 2 National Guard members near the White House.
This as the alleged gunman makes his first court appearance, virtually the Afghan national entering a not guilty plea from a hospital bed.
Fox 5's chief legal correspondent Katie Barlow is live from D.C. Superior Court with the very latest. Katie?
Even though Rachmanullah Lochinwall's lawyers argued that he should be released from custody after he gets out of the hospital because he has no criminal history, Judge Renee Raymond here at the D.C. Superior Court said there's no combination of factors that she thinks would ensure the safety of the community if he was released. She said that his actions caused and continue to animate, quote, sheer terror. So he will remain in custody, eventually behind bars, now facing 4 charges, including murder, 2 gun charges, and assault with intent to kill. All of those charges are alleged violations of the D.C. Code, but U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro says she's continuing to look at potential additional charges, including a federal case.
I would expect, given all the issues we've had with the National Guard and being used for civilian law enforcement and the federalization of the National Guard, that this is not only a legal case, it's a political one. So I would expect that if I were a line AUSA, that there would be a directive from DC to file this case federally and to seek the death penalty.
Lochinwall pleaded not guilty to the charges today. Pirro's office revealed new images of Lochinwall standing outside the metro station last Wednesday before he started running toward the victims. Now, according to court documents, Lochinwall shouted Allahu Akbar as he shot toward law enforcement officers. A major in the West Virginia National Guard shot Lochinwall and, together with a member of the United States Secret Service, restrained him while he was attempting to reload his gun. Now, according to officials, DC's chief medical officer has confirmed that specialist Sarah Beckstrom died from a single gunshot to the back of the head. Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf is currently in the hospital suffering from a gunshot wound also to the head. Now, Trump has said he wants to reinstate the death penalty in Washington, D.C. Today, we asked Pirro whether she's considering it in Lochinwall's case.
That is a very weighty decision. That is a decision that comes later in time, and that is one that ultimately the Attorney General will make. My job and the job of my office and the great federal partners, the investigative partners who work around the clock, and I wish you could see these people. They don't sleep. They work around the clock investigating this case. Our job is to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt.
Lochinwall is now due back in court on January 14th.
Katie, thank you. Meantime, every National Guard member in the district is now armed following the attack, and the Pentagon says many Guardsmen are conducting joint patrols alongside D.C. police. Right now, about 2,200 troops remain deployed across the district.
Well,
New at 6, we have learned what prompted this police chase in Northern Virginia. Vienna police say that they were following a stolen Honda Pilot, which had $1,000 of stolen groceries inside of it. The chase starting at the Giant Foods on Maple Avenue. That car seen driving recklessly, the driver driving recklessly on Chainbridge Road yesterday, hitting several cars. Now, as the chase moved further south, police stopped following it. No injuries were reported. Officers are now searching for this guy seen getting into that car before the dangerous chase. Also, a swatting call leading to a massive police response at Bethesda Chevy Chase High School today. The school was placed on lockdown for a brief period this afternoon. Montgomery County Police now investigating at this very hour.
All right, let's turn our attention to the weather here because, yes, we told you about what was going to be headed this way this morning, and we had those cold temperatures. And right now, 39 degrees at this hour.
Yeah, it was a wet start for a lot of us to our Tuesday, Caitlin, and things finally dried out, and we saw a little bit of the sun today towards the end.
Yeah, just a small part of our area, really up in the mountains that saw the winter weather. Most of us, it was cold rain. It was a tough day, though, to be out and about.
It was cold.
I'm okay with the rain.
Oh, you were?
Yeah,
okay, good.
Just the rain.
It's much easier to deal with in winter weather, that's for sure.
I'm okay with the cold. I don't want the rain. You can't please them all, right?
Gosh, you can't. Well, you're both going to get the cold. That's going to stick around. Not going anywhere. So you at least 50-50 get to win that one. Yeah, we are looking at a chilly stretch of temperatures. It already began. It began over the holiday weekend, honestly. But now mixing it in with some precipitation, and we may do that again later in the week. Cold first half of December looking to shape up. And for today, you know, we started at 36 at Reagan National, so temperatures were well above freezing, meaning we only ever saw rain. And in fact, at all three area airports, we only ever saw rain, at least observationally. And the high temperature was only 42, 11 degrees below normal. We did pick up 0.86 inches of rain, a healthy amount in our dry, drought-stricken region. Live look out of Fredericksburg. Pretty dark, though, right now, as we have moved past sunset, a ways past sunset. But we did see a little blue sky before the sun did go down, a nice sign of things to come. Clouds are clearing out. Temperatures are falling back now into the 30s. Here's satellite and radar, which shows the last of the showers clearing the coast. Rainfall amounts were generally beneficial, up to an inch area-wide. That mixed in with sleet and snow to the north and west. So there were some snowfall amounts along 81, the northern tier of Maryland, where you would expect them in those higher spots. It's cold tonight. Watch out for some slippery spots as temperatures fall to freezing or below. Tomorrow we get the sunshine back, but it remains, below normal for December with highs only in the low 40s. By Friday, it's cold and we may have another snow chance. More on that coming up in my 7-day. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Caitlin. Well, the White House now threatening to withhold SNAP benefits from Democrat-led states. That could include the entire D.C. region. The Trump administration says it will not allocate aid unless states provide more data on people receiving food assistance, including names and immigration status, all in an effort to combat what it calls fraud. 1 in 8 adults uses SNAP to buy their groceries. Democratic states have already sued to block the requirement.
Virginia could be one step closer to recreational cannabis sales. Today, a state-appointed commission unveiled a blueprint for how it would work across the Commonwealth. Fox 5's Homa Bash live in Arlington tonight with those details. Hi, Homa.
Hi, Kenneth. Medical dispensaries like this one right behind me have been allowed for about 5 years now, but getting into that retail cannabis market, that has proven to be a challenge in the Commonwealth. They tell me here, if this goes through, it would be a huge win.
For us as a business, it would be a massive win. But more importantly, for folks that want to consume cannabis that's safe tested, age-gated, standardized products, it's even more important.
Now, this is Beyond Hello. They run 6 medical dispensaries in Northern Virginia with a cultivation plant in Manassas. They tell me they're hopeful Virginia can follow in Maryland's footsteps. Today, the Marijuana Commission met with 7 pages of recommendations after months of hearings and studies. Keep in mind, it has been 5 years since Virginia legalized possession and cultivation. But some key points from the proposed bill: it favors small businesses and gets rid of opt-outs for localities while making sure they receive a percentage of revenue. There are projections of about $400 million in annual tax revenue over the next 5 years. It also looks to curb the illicit market while reinvesting in communities hit hardest by laws from the war on drugs era. Here's State Senator Aaron Krause and Delegate Paul Krizek, both who helped sponsor the legislation. Krause telling me creating a level playing field was an essential step.
It made sure that everyone would go to market at the same time, ensuring that big pharma does not get a leap over small businesses. In fact, what I made sure was to prioritize Virginia small businesses first.
Biggest concern, I think, as I said, has been public safety, and a regulated retail market will replace the illicit market because it includes product testing, labeling, accurate labeling, and consumer education.
Now, in the past, Governor Glenn Youngkin vetoed legislation that would have created a legal cannabis market in the state. Today, Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger telling Fox 5 she believes the Commonwealth needs a clear strategy to set up a market that prioritizes public safety and grows Virginia's economy. She also says she believes revenue should be reinvested into things like strengthening the state's public schools. Spanberger says she's looking forward to finding a path forward and working with the General Assembly. Now, again, keep in mind, the soonest we could see a retail recreational cannabis market here in the state of Virginia would be November 2026. Guys.
Okay. About a year away. Homa, thank you. Well, the D.C. Council approving emergency legislation aimed at boosting the district's streeteries. The new D.C. streetery rules that started Monday, which forced restaurants to pay rent for the street space they use and pay permitting fees. Well, Councilmember Charles Allen telling Fox 5 the emergency bill reduces the cost and also gives a little more flexibility for designs.
We know that we also have some examples where you've seen kind of abandoned or derelict streeteries, and the rules will bring some common sense order to that so that those go away. But we've also seen some restaurants do really well with these, and they are an active part of what we all want to live in a big city.
With the changes, less than half of the nearly 170 streeteries that had been in operation have applied for new permits. The new emergency rules are in place until July. In the meantime, leaders voting to extend a stricter youth curfew in the district to stop things like this and scenes like this from unfolding. It continues to allow the police chief to declare special extended curfew zones aimed at stopping teens in groups of 8 or more after 8 p.m. The policy now expires in April, giving legislators time to come up with a more permanent solution.
2 prominent D.C. council members are staying out of next year's race for mayor. Brooke Pinto and Robert White confirmed to Fox 5 today they are still running to be the city's next congressional representative. They announced challenges to incumbent Eleanor Holmes Norton earlier this year. Mayor Muriel Bowser announced she's not seeking a 4th term. White ran against Bowser in 2022.
Still to come, everybody. Here on the 6th, major changes could be on the horizon for this place, Dulles International Airport. Why the president is calling for a rebuild.
Plus, the Trump administration defending its airstrikes on alleged drug boats in the Caribbean as criticism mounts. Details ahead.
Brian Walsh back in court for the murder trial, making headlines across the nation. What happened today? Also, here's what Bob Barnard has coming up.
A Northern Virginia preschool teacher is struck and killed by a Loudoun County transit bus. We'll have the rest of the story when Fox 5 comes right back.
The family of a 3-year-old killed in a crash caused by a high-speed police pursuit is suing Prince George's County. The lawsuit from Zoe Harrison's family also includes 2 police departments and the man that they were chasing. In May, police were trying to go after Larry Naylor. It was all over a missing license plate. Naylor eventually lost control of his car and crashed. The family is seeking $75,000 for wrongful death and negligence.
A Northern Virginia preschool teacher hit and killed by a Loudoun County transit bus.
And now, investigators tonight trying to figure out what caused the crash. Fox 5's Bob Barnard is in Ashburn with the details.
This is a fairly new area developing around the Ashburn Metro Station. The victim, a woman named Alyssa K. Cole, was struck by that bus in a roadway around 6:30 last night. Now, her family is sharing with us photos of Alyssa. She was 34 years old, grew up in Purcellville, was a 2010 graduate of Loudoun Valley High School. They say they want to know the circumstances of her death. They say she was out for a run after work. Loudoun County Sheriff's investigators were back here at the scene of the collision this afternoon. It's the intersection of Moorfield Boulevard and Crosson Lane, just about 200 yards from the Metro Station. The Sheriff's Office says the striking vehicle was a Loudoun County transit bus. How the fatal collision happened, we just don't know. Alyssa lived about a 15-minute walk from here. There are no crosswalks or streetlights in this area.
That is just so sad, you know. We have to be very cautious in walking. I'm almost 81 years old, and I watch all the time. I look in all directions, and you always have to watch, even when you have a walk sign, even if there's a crosswalk. You always have to be so cautious about the drivers. And of course, the drivers, if there's no crosswalk, they're allowed to go. So people just have to really be cautious and watch.
There's not enough streetlights. And I think that's really ultimately what led to the accident. I don't think this was, I just think it was just a wrong place, wrong time.
According to her family and Facebook page, Alyssa worked as a teacher at the Gardner School of Herndon. We've reached out to them but have not heard back. Sheriff's investigators say there are no cameras in this area that recorded the fatal collision, so they're asking anyone who may have seen what happened to please give them a call.
Thank you, Bob. Now we want to talk weather with you. The first major snowstorm of the year hitting the Northeast. We're talking ice, we're talking rain and snow slamming parts of the East Coast as the first nor'easter of the season arrives. Forecasters warn the worst could be felt in the New England part of the country. In Pennsylvania, State Police responding to more than 200 calls for crashes caused because of the icy and dicey road conditions.
Thank the Lord we had none of that here. We avoided the worst of the winter weather, but we still saw a messy morning commute because of all that rain. A live look tonight from our Fox 5 Sky Cam, the view of Fredericksburg on this beautiful Tuesday night. So we're all done with that. Like, we've had our first blast and nothing for the rest of the season.
That's it, right? So nice to just be done with winter on December 2nd. Like, it's over. That's
gosh, a girl can dream, right?
I mean, some winters feel like that. It's just, you know, quick blast and out of here.
Save the snow for Christmas.
Oh,
I do like a white
Christmas.
Christmas. Yeah, it makes. Yeah, I'm already in the mood right now. I feel like, you know, I wish I had some Scotch tape to wrap some presents. Like, I'm in the mood.
I might have some for your mouth.
I'm in the mood.
Okay, we can be very festive during this month, right? It's all about...
Yes, we can. Thank you. I'll take my bow now.
For the holiday, yeah. I think it looks great.
All right, fashion police over here, you know.
I know. So, some people have different thoughts on patterns. It's okay. I think anything kind of goes in December. It's the last month of the year, right? You might as well. I mean, we're about to put a wrap on 2025, even though kind of feels like it just started. But clearly we're putting a wintry wrap on it because as we get into the 7-day forecast, you'll see, gosh, things staying cold and possibly active. Watch for some ice tonight as we refreeze. So any leftover moisture could lead to some slippery spots. The sun's back tomorrow. Nice dry day, although it will be cold, and that's not changing anytime soon. By Friday, a very cold day, and we could in fact be looking at our next chance for snow. Winter is certainly showing up quickly this year. 39 degrees in Washington right now. Winds out of the northwest at 10 miles an hour. Mostly cloudy skies, but will continue to clear into the overnight. We're mostly in the mid to upper 30s north and west, and we're seeing those low 40s off to the south and east. 40 in Annapolis, 42 in Fredericksburg, 40 in Manassas, 36 in Frederick and Hagerstown. There's the last of the showers that cleared the coast a couple hours ago, and our storm system now wrapped up over Long Island, parts of New England. Good snows for Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, well off to our our north and east. We'll fall back to freezing in D.C., but widespread 20s for the suburbs. So a very cold start to the day tomorrow. You're dressing for winter, even if there's no winter weather. It's just that chilly. Temperatures will rise only into the low 40s for the metro, and northern Maryland may even just get stuck in the 30s all day long. So dry, quiet the next couple of days. 44 tomorrow, mostly sunny, and a little bit more cloud cover on Thursday with that high of 43. But we're watching our next potential by Friday. European model on board. The other ones depends. The American not so much. Some others are kind of loosely on board. But we'll show you what the European has, which is a wave developing to our south and east, pushing precipitation in during the morning hours Friday, and cold enough to support snow for everybody. So unlike what just happened last night with marginal temperatures, mostly a rain here, well, there is a better chance of seeing just the white stuff, and that would be on Friday into Friday night. So we're watching that chance closely. Right now, I'd say, don't panic about it, but maybe just be prepared for the chance that we could have some flakes to end the week. We're definitely going to have a lot of cold to end the week as it gets reinforced into this weekend. And next week, that blue bubble over the northeast showing the cold will not be stopping anytime soon. Here's that 7-day forecast. Very wintry looking indeed. Chance of snow on Friday, high of just 35. That is cold. We look dry into the weekend, but chilly. Temperatures remain below normal. And with another shot of cold air early next week, chance of rain and snow Monday or Tuesday. Angie, back over to you.
Thank you, Caitlin. A school boundary battle in Montgomery County coming up, why parents are speaking out.
And U.S. officials meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in hopes of ending the war with Ukraine. How it went.
We're looking ahead to the World Cup draw this Friday, and we're pulling out all the stops for the event at the Kennedy Center. Fox 5 will have live coverage all morning long, including a pre-draw day show. That's at 11 a.m. Then stay with us for the big event live at noon. Remember, Fox 5 and Fox Local, your home for the 2026 World Cup. We'll be right back. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth facing new scrutiny over reports that he ordered everybody on an alleged drug boat killed. Reports say the military ordered a follow-up strike to kill 2 survivors of an attack. The White House today deflecting criticism from Hegseth, saying a Navy admiral ordered that strike. Meanwhile, Hegseth says the administration will back military leaders involved.
We always have the back of our commanders who are making decisions in difficult situations, and we do in this case and all these strikes. They're making judgment calls and ensuring that they defend the American people. They've done the right things. We'll keep doing that, and we have their backs, Mr. President.
The White House says that the vice admiral who ordered the attack is expected to give a classified briefing to lawmakers on Thursday.
Major news companies barred from Pentagon briefings this week. This after a dispute between outlets and the Department of Defense. Today's briefing consisted of mostly conservative media and allies of President Trump who agreed to new reporting rules. Critics claim the changes give the defense secretary too much control over what information is reported. The DoD claims it's trying to prevent the spread of classified information. Russian President Vladimir Putin is accusing European countries of blocking peace efforts in Ukraine. Right now, he's meeting with a U.S. delegation in Moscow to talk about a U.S. peace plan. Putin calling today's talks productive. Yesterday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with European leaders who want to ensure Ukraine is not pressured to give up land in that peace deal.
Well, still ahead, Old Bay announcing changes to its iconic packaging. What is next? Plus, here's what Tisha Lewis has coming up.
We're inside Dulles International Airport. President Trump says he wants to rebuild and redesign the 62-year-old airport. Details coming up.
Old Bay, going back to the basics. Maryland's favorite seasoning will once again be packaged in tin instead of the current plastic container. McCormick, which owns Old Bay, says that change is meant to bring back the classic feeling and user experience of years past. Old Bay switched from tin to plastic back in 2017. And I say hooray to this. I feel like more companies should do this because tin is, well, it does feel cool and it's nostalgic, right? As long as it's not old and it gets all rusty. But more importantly, it's better for the environment and it's also better health-wise. No BPAs.
I just like what's in it. Like what's in the container. Which
you don't
is
care
the
how
Old
you
Bay.
get it. As long as it can shake.
Shake it on.
That's right.
Give us the most. That's
fair.
I love it.
That's
Going
fair.
old school. I got it. Hey, Angie, thanks a lot. A lot more news ahead. Let's get to those headlines. Right now at 6:30, new revelations in the D.C. National Guard shooting as the alleged attacker makes his first court appearance. What we're learning. Then a facelift for Dulles International. President Trump announced a new effort to rebuild the airport. And changes now in effect for Montgomery County's gas-powered leaf blower ban. What you need to know. Thanks for keeping it right here at 6:30. Let's get started with a check of some of the top stories we're following tonight. The alleged D.C. National Guard shooter pled not guilty to murder and assault charges today. The Afghan national made his first court appearance today, going before a judge via video since he's still recovering in the hospital. He's accused of shooting 2 National Guardsmen, killing one in an ambush-style attack near the White House. He's due back in court next month. The other Guardsman still in critical condition tonight. Today, testimony continued in the murder trial of Brian Walsh. He's the Massachusetts man accused of killing and dismembering his wife, D.C. real estate agent Anna Walsh. Today, prosecutors detailing data from Walsh's laptop, including Google searches about the best way to dispose of a body. He also reportedly looked up a serial killer in Southern California from the 1960s. Prosecutors believe he killed his wife in 2023 after suspecting she was having an affair. Virginia Senator Mark Warner is running for re-election, seeking a 4th term next year. Warner says he will push for universal health care and a complete overhaul of affordable housing and child care. 3 other Democrats have filed to challenge Warner in the June primary. Tonight, President Trump has a potential new construction project. He wants to rebuild Dulles International. Fox 5's Tisha Lewis at the airport tonight.
We're here inside Dulles International Airport, known for its architectural design, including its curved ceiling behind me. In fact, the president made an unannounced visit through the terminal here last month. At the time, the White House said the president wanted to assess potential future projects. Now, Mr. Trump has made it clear he plans to rebuild the airport.
It's not a good airport. It should be a great airport. It's not a good airport at all. It's a terrible airport. It was incorrectly designed with a good building. Actually, it's got a beautiful terminal.
The president's comments made at the White House today alongside Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. They come as his administration is also working on plans to repair the so-called people movers at Dulles after 2 crashed last month. The Department of Transportation currently requesting bids for those repairs. The president's comments on rebuilding Dulles came as he applauded the airport's architect. We spoke with travelers at Dulles who were split on the idea to rebuild and redesign the 62-year-old airport.
I think there's a lot of other more important infrastructure projects that can be done in the area besides redoing a functional and beautiful airport that's been working just fine for decades.
We reached out to the Washington Metropolitan Airport Authority, and they tell Fox 5 they appreciate the president's interest in making improvements to Dulles International Airport. They go on to say, we look forward to seeing the results of the U.S. Department of Transportation's request for information and working collaboratively with the administration. We always embrace new ideas for Dulles, which is the fastest growing international gateway airport in America. The Airport Authority goes on to tell Fox 5 they want to build on the existing $7 billion capital plan for Dulles, which is underway right now, with a new concourse under construction with plans to open this fall.
A battle brewing over school boundaries in one local county. Parents speaking out at a meeting happening right now. We'll take you there after this Fox 5 breakthrough. Tonight, a major fight is brewing over new school boundaries in Montgomery County. Parents in Gaithersburg say the latest options for the new Crown High are unfair, leaving their community at a disadvantage. Fox News' Sharon Rouget live in Gaithersburg tonight and ahead of another meeting on this issue. Sharon.
That's right, Kenneth. Parents I spoke to tonight tell me that they are just stunned by these options that were just presented to them via Zoom by MCPS just last night. They say essentially these options, these 4 new options, push Gaithersburg students to overcrowded schools or hand over this brand new Crown High School that many have been so looking forward to an affluent community. Many parents tell me tonight they are arriving here right now to address MCPS directly. Now take a look. MCPS confirming that it is formally recommending that Crown High School open as a temporary holding school, a place to house other students while older buildings undergo major renovations, including Magruder, Damascus, and Wooten High Schools. Even one proposal gives Crown High School primarily to Wooten students. Now, the district says this approach saves millions of dollars, accelerates construction by about 7 years, helps solve long-standing CIP challenges and a multi-billion-dollar backlog of renovation needs. But many families here in Gaithersburg argue their community helped fund the new school through impact taxes, and now their students may be sent to an already crowded school, while Crown is now filled with temporary students from other buildings.
I want my 2 daughters to go to the high school that's in walking distance from them, that we've paid for, that they deserve.
Crown is the closest high school to my kids, so it's going to take them over 270. So my concern is also the options put them in a school that's going to be overcrowded.
My big fear ultimately is they're going to promise using this as a holding school for 10 to 15 years to go fix 3 separate high schools that they don't have funding for.
Now, MCPS says the move is driven by declining enrollment, yet Gaithersburg's mayor has actually presented MCPS with data showcasing documented growth in Gaithersburg.
AstraZeneca is investing over $2 billion here. We have the Lake Forest development that's coming. People are going to be moving in here. Jobs are being created here. Growth is concentrated up county in Gaithersburg, and that data is being blatantly ignored.
Again, MCPS is taking questions and comments here tonight here at Gaithersburg High School. This is not the final plan, though, Kenneth. Essentially, this goes to the county executive and the county council. There will be more public input before that final vote next year. Back to you.
All right, Sharon, thank you. Meantime, also Montgomery County, a new county council president tonight. Natalie Fanny Gonzalez, elected by her fellow members, along with Marilyn Bumcombe, chosen to serve as vice president. They'll serve 1-year terms. Outgoing council president Kate Stewart released a video this morning highlighting the council's work under her leadership and reflecting on what she calls major progress in 2025. Preserving the Chesapeake after the break, the new agreement helping protect the vital watershed. And just months after taking effect, one local county makes changes to its gas-powered leaf blower ban. Details next. A revised Chesapeake Bay watershed agreement approved as part of a multi-billion-dollar cleanup effort. The Chesapeake Executive Council greenlit the agreement in Baltimore today. It's expected to guide the multi-state and federal effort to restore and protect the bay by 2040.
And the momentum that we are now seeing throughout the Chesapeake Bay to be able to protect this heirloom is because of partnership. That we're only 40 years into a concerted effort to make sure that we're restoring the Chesapeake Bay and the land and the waterways that surround it, knowing that we did not create it, but it is our job to protect it.
The plan includes wetland creation, oyster restoration, and waterbird habitat protection. Montgomery County making changes to its gas power leaf blower ban. People no longer need to send in a picture of a potential violator. This week, the county executive signed the bill that addresses privacy concerns. Now, 2 witnesses are needed to file a complaint. Anyone who violates the leaf blower ban faces a fine of $500 for the first offense. Today, Metro is celebrating the construction of a new senior affordable housing complex, the new Carrollton Metro Station. Metro leaders and developer Urban Atlantic, they were there for the groundbreaking. The agency says it's trying to make that neighborhood more transit friendly. Nearly 400 units are planned, scheduled to open in 2027. All right, coming up, a local nonprofit is helping preserve the history of our region. Hear from the people behind the project, plus new allegations against Jada Pinkett Smith as part of a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. TMZ joins us live. They are not keeping Will Smith's wife's name out their mouth tonight. And Mike Thomas is checking that forecast.
I'm glad you didn't reenact that with me here, Kenneth, as we're looking out across the region. Hey, camera's shaking a bit, winds blowing, and there's a reason that that's actually a good thing. Yeah, it's not making things feel better as the cold sticks around, but it's drying the ground a bit. So we should see just a little bit of patchy icing concerns tonight. We'll talk more about it coming up. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Wait till the 6 returns. Don't you do it.
Tonight on this Giving Tuesday, a closer look at a small museum making a big impact in Northern Virginia. It's preserving the Black history of Arlington County. Fox 5's Gwen Tarver live at the Black Heritage Museum of Arlington tonight. Hi, Gwen.
Hi there, Cannon. Yes, this is a small place, but boy, I tell you, everything they do is big scale when it comes to educating you and letting you know this history. Scott Irwin Taylor is with me now, and you are the founder and president. Scott, tell me, when people come through this door, what are the kinds of things they can see and be educated about?
Educated about African-American history, and that's what we specialize in, but only in Arlington history I specialize in. But I want to say our founder was Evelyn Syphax, who is also big with the big educator. theater here in Arlington. But when you come in here, we've got all kinds of things for you to see and things you probably did not know.
And so the history of Arlington and Northern Virginia goes really deep when it comes to the black community. And you said a lot of things that people don't know about. So what is it you want people to realize when they do come in the door?
Well, I want you to realize that this beautiful place we call Arlington didn't just happen. A lot of things, especially with enslaved people, made this place the beautiful, wonderful place we live in today. It's a wonderful place, but a lot of African history went into making it happen.
All right. Now, I know that you are hoping to expand and get into, a bigger facility. Can we take a look now at some video that we have here of that? Because you've been trying to do some fundraising as well.
Right. We're trying to fundraise because we need more space. I have a lot of information that I want to share with the people, but we don't have the space right now. So with the help of people like yourself and Channel 5 supporters, we can do it. We can make it happen. We can make it happen.
All right. Well, back out here live now. You have Joan Mulholland here is one of your exhibits that you have here. And she was from Arlington, born and raised, but a very active civil rights person when it came to fighting racism and letting people know what should be done in Arlington.
Right. Well, she didn't actually want to be in the museum. She says, I'm white. But people need to understand what white privilege is and what you can do with white privilege. I don't expect you to be on death row like she did,
yes, okay.
But she shows what you can do when you have a little bit of power.
All right.
You can help others.
And we need you to help out this museum as well. They need your funds to help find a new place, expand, and get more exhibits. Giving Tuesday. So make sure you go to their website and help out. Guys, back to you.
All right, Gwen, thank you. Well, 'tis the season for Christmas tree lightings across the DMV. Look at that beauty. The Capitol Christmas tree lit up on the National Mall tonight. This year, the tree comes from a national park in Nevada. And two familiar faces, you know these guys? Yeah, they were at tree lightings in the district. Our Marissa Mitchell emceed the annual Christmas tree lighting at Union Station this evening. And Steve Chenevie at the Fairmont Hotel with Mayor Muriel Bowser counting down for the big lighting there. And all month long, we want you to show us your holiday spirit. Share photos of your holiday decorations to fox5dc.com/instashare. You may even see them right here on Fox 5. But for now, we turn our attention back to the weather. Get you outside a live look at the lights in Frederick from our Fox 5 Sky Cam. Mike Thomas was real busy yesterday forecasting what was to come for the morning commute. Some areas saw snow, most saw rain.
Well, I mean,
right?
we mixed here in D.C. briefly,
Okay.
and then it went quickly, just like we kind of said, right? We were like, morning commute's going to be a problem.
Yep.
Once you get beyond the morning commute, it'll clear up rather quickly, and we didn't anticipate
Ooh,
issues
you were
for-
spot on.
Well, every now and then, one's actually not that hard to predict, and I would say this one was a nice way to warm up for this season. Not the hardest forecast. We were pretty confident that we were going to switch to a good amount of rain and not see too many impacts. Now, a lot of kids did get those school delays they were hoping for. Glad that they got the extra couple hours of sleep in many cases here. But, yeah, not lasting impacts with this event. 42 this afternoon, and we hit it late in the day once that sun finally started poking through the clouds. 11 degrees below the seasonal average. And another benefit, we're still in a drought situation, snow or not, and getting this much rain, almost an inch, certainly helps that. So a very beneficial rain event across the D.C. region. 39 right now. Cameras starting to shake as winds pick up a bit out of the north and west at 10. They could gust over 20 tonight, and that wind's a good thing. It's helping dry the ground, which should prevent too many icy spots. Now, temperatures are dropping fast, but most of the area above freezing still, so that wind, again, helpful. It'll dry the ground and prevent too much in terms of refreeze tonight. But still, any locations that saw some ponding on the roadways, parking lots, sidewalks, stuff like that, watch out for a little bit of ice during the overnight and very early morning hours tomorrow. But I don't think it's a widespread kind of concern, thanks to the wind blowing a bit and helping dry things out. 32 tonight, Washington, middle 20s north and west, Frederick, Gaithersburg, Dulles down to 25, Manassas, Culpeper 22. It's going to be a cold start tomorrow. Should be a much better looking day, though. Storms now well out of here, going off to the north and east, still impacting interior New England, but don't worry, if you were hoping for a lot more snow in D.C., we didn't get it. Philly, New York, Boston, all mixing out with rain, so this was not an I-95 snowstorm. And we did tell you that was going to be the case, right? This is all going to be interior for this early December storm. High pressure builds in tomorrow. That's drier, more stable air. You're going to look out your window, see a lot of sunshine. You step outside without the jacket, though, you're going to regret it. Temperatures tomorrow still very cold. Some won't make it out of the 30s, especially north of town. D.C. areas down to the south, highs in the 40s. And all of that's below normal for this time of year. We should be seeing 50s this early in December. High tomorrow, just 44 degrees. It looks pretty, though. By Thursday, high just 43. We'll mix in a few more clouds. Ahead of something we have to track on Friday, another system developing down in the Gulf. Now, we always have these questions. Is it going to turn to the north? And if it does, you do see we have a snow threat zone if it happens to take this northern route. Now, we have models saying that's going to happen. We have models saying that the southern route's going to happen, what we call the slider track. And if it slides to our south, it doesn't really develop, well, then snow is not likely, and we remain very cold. In fact, one thing we're confident about, if this does turn north, it will be a snow event here in D.C. because we will have a lot of cold air to work with. I'll show you a model that does suggest we could get snow, and that's, of course, the European one. You can see as it works its way northward into Friday afternoon. It's got snow here in Washington, but I will say there are several models that suggest that this will not be the case, that storm, as we kind of said before, slides to the south, and then we just have a dry but very cold day. And we are confident Friday's going to be the coldest day of this week, with temperatures only in the middle 30s for highs. Even if it ends up being dry and sunny, likely still just going to be in the 30s. Then we're cold through the weekend as well, with temps in the 40s. So we'll keep you ahead of that snow chance, let you know if it's going to come to fruition or not as we head throughout the course of this week. Kenneth?
All right, Mike, thank you. Time check with our friends at TMZ. 2025 has been a wild one. A new special is looking back at the biggest stories and surprises from this past year. And Jada Pinkett Smith allegedly threatened a longtime friend of Will Smith, according to court documents. TMZ all over these stories, of course. The co-executive producer of TMZ, managing editor Charles Latiboudier, joins us now.
Wow, I got titles and everything today?
Well, you know,
Thanks,
I think
Kenneth.
it's important to let people know sometimes that we're talking to the boss, one of the bosses there at TMZ.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
not necessary. But
So this is a new special airing right here on Fox 5 tonight. This is the point where you remind me of all the big stories that I forgot about.
there are a bunch of, you know what, I think you probably remembered most of these, Kenneth. They were, after all, the most outrageous stories of the year, and we all got together. There was some vigorous debate about what should actually be on the list, and then when it came to ranking them, well, you'll see tonight how that went down. But we're talking about some stories that were some fun ones, of course, the Bezos wedding. Kylie Jenner, I think, unexpectedly, inadvertently set off a trend when it comes to plastic surgery. And we're also talking about Taylor and Travis's engagement, and maybe one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen happen in a newsroom. But that all plays out in the special. But we're also talking about some very serious ones, like Hulk Hogan's death, the Diddy trial, clearly, and the Wendy Williams saga that is still going on, and where that stands now and where it's going to go next year. So we are talking about all of those things. The big question you have, of course, is what is the #1 most outrageous story?
Yeah.
Well, as they say, you got to tune in at 9 o'clock tonight.
Ooh, I can't wait. Yeah, the Wendy Williams one definitely is a big one of the year. There's so many.
I had a question for you, Kenneth.
Yeah.
Where would you rank the Coldplay couple?
Oh, that's definitely top 5.
Yeah.
Live
top 5. You got a top 5?
Yeah, I think that's in the top 5. That was a huge one.
We'll see.
Okay.
It was absolutely huge.
There were a lot of outrageous moments, stories. Also outrageous, Harvey's shirt in that special. I was like, what's he wearing?
Okay, I'm glad you said it, Kenneth, but believe me, when we sat down to shoot this and he walked in and I literally looked at him, I said, you know we're going to start shooting in like 5 minutes.
You gonna go change?
Why don't you change?
Yeah.
And he's like, I am changed. And I go,
oh, wow.
Can you change again? And he said, nope. And he sat down. We're like, all right, here we go.
Don't tell him his friend at Fox 5 said that.
Believe me, he's heard plenty since the promo started running.
So a story that most likely won't make that list, this one, because it's new, is Jada Pinkett Smith allegedly threatened a longtime friend of her husband, according to court documents. Why?
This is pretty outrageous, though. I don't think it would have made our top 10 had it happened, a few months ago. But yes, a man named Bilal Salam, who says he's been very close friends with Will for decades, has worked with him on multiple projects, says that back in 2021, he was at Will's birthday party, and Jada walked up to him and basically threatened him, according to this lawsuit. She said, if you keep talking about my business in public, you might catch a bullet. And that she then demanded he sign an NDA, which he says he did not, and that he's filed this now $3 million lawsuit against her because of that threat. He's also trying to get a restraining order against her. Now, he might get the restraining order based on that threat. It's not that difficult to get a temporary restraining order. I'm not sure where this lawsuit goes, because even if she did say that, nothing happened to him. We are now 4 years beyond that. He's going to have to prove that there was some violence that was, that fell on him. He says, by the way, after that threat, that things got worse, that she said, look, if you're not going to sign the NDA, and I hear you're talking about writing a tell-all memoir about us, that she had people who were following him around, he says. So,
whoa, okay. Look, Jada from Baltimore.
We'll see.
So,
what are you trying to say, Kenneth?
I'm just saying, she says what she means. She means what she says.
Hey, you live there, man. That's
one market over. So I'm not making anyone angry here.
Close enough. It's close enough.
It is. It definitely is. Hey, thank you, co-executive producer of TMZ. We appreciate you. We'll check you out on TV right here on Fox 5 at 7:30. Anchor, host, Jim Lokay, he's here. Hey.
Does Dulles Airport need a full renovation? President Trump thinks so. Go to fox5dc.com/line and tell us whether you like it or not.
I like the way Dulles, was born, but, sometimes you just need a little spruce me up.
I think there's a reason the President of the United States is getting involved in this, and I'll share those thoughts coming up on the show.
Can I say this?
Yes.
People movers, gotta go. Hate them.
It's just gives something people to complain about. I talk about more, but you took all my time.
I did.
All right, so imagine this. You get an invite to a wedding. There's a gift registry out there, and you do what every decent wedding goer would do. You wait until the day before, and you go through the gift registry and buy something. Then you go to the wedding and find out it wasn't really a wedding at all. That happened. We're going to tell you where and why it might even be illegal. This is Like It or Not. Let's do this. Welcome to the show. Tuesday nights, we are live here at 7 o'clock on the nose. Welcome in.
That's right. Did you forget that?
Yeah. No, I was
waiting for the seconds.
Waiting for the seconds there. I like to be precise about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Angie is here.
So
is Marina. And Tony P is usually here on Tuesdays. He's in Brussels, apparently. Doing world peace.
Sloppy seconds of, yeah, there you go. That's
our research